Okay, welcome back, Interiors Insider. We have a familiar face on the How She Built This series today. We have got Mary Holmes from Proud Mary Stylist, and I thought it would be absolutely amazing to have Mary on. I have witnessed her go from leaps and bounds since she first started with Interiors Insider. So today is all about me asking all the juicy questions of Mary and her sharing some of the experience of her growth and what's been important to her. So hi to Mary, and thank you so much for being here and saying yes to me always. Whatever I ask you, you're always like, yes, Kylie. So it's so nice that you've taken the time out of your day today to talk to us.
A pleasure, Kylie. It's nice to be asked along. Very excited.
Oh, thank you. So I thought what we'd start with is maybe a little bit, how long have you been in Interiors Insider and in the interiors industry?
So I think I joined in March 2022.
Yes.
Yes, because
So
I did, because I officially started in my business full time in December 2021.
okay, 2021. So after COVID.
Yeah, but I'd had my business as a side hustle since 2018.
Okay.
And I'd always been in creative roles or around sort of the interiors sort of environment for a really long time, pretty much since I started working.
Okay. So was this a career change for you coming into an interior designer?
Yeah,
Stylist?
totally.
Yeah, total career change. So tell us a little bit before where you went into your own business, what were you doing?
I was running a sustainability program for a high-end furniture company, but I'd been with that company for a really long time. And I'd also, for them, I'd run their retail business. I was doing all the buying. I was designing furniture, doing all the store fit outs, so seasonal changes. So very creative. And then I sort of moved into their customer care area, and then they asked me to take on the sustainability program. But as much as I loved it, and it's still a passion, I've always been a really creative person.
Yeah. And you decided to, one day leave there and go into your own business? What gave you the little push to set up your own business?
I think COVID. And I think COVID was very unsettling for a lot of people. Yeah. And also feeling like I've been with that company for 22 years. And if I don't do something now, when will I do it? And I was busy. I was busy with clients, even though I was working full time. Okay. And I just felt, I felt it was the right time.
Yeah. And how were you getting clients on the side? Were they from work or?
No, it was all referrals.
Okay, so it was word of mouth.
Yeah.
And your first job, what was that like? How did you dive into doing this? Like, you knew you were creative. How did you know what to do in terms of running the business?
Is this when I started in my business full time?
Yeah.
I think I've done project management.
Okay.
And I've done marketing.
Yep.
And I've been a salesperson. So, all the things I think you need to run a successful business. Yeah. Although I didn't really sort of know all the ins and outs and everything around financials, but, I'm a hard worker and I'm really motivated.
Yeah. And how old were you when you decided to go into your job full time?
57.
Wow, that's so amazing, because only this week, I think I was talking to a lady who was 52, and she said, I'm really trying to get into this and I don't know whether I should do it or not. And I'm like, hell yes, you should. If this is what you want to do, I'm like, if you're still thinking about it now in your 50s, you're going to be thinking about it in your 60s. And, 50's the new 40, really, isn't it? And
absolutely.
Or new 30.
Or the new 30.
Yeah. Okay. So just transitioning a little bit along there, I remember you came into one of the mentee rounds, and you were a breath of fresh air in there. You were a real, just always so happy and such a big sponge. You just had so much you wanted to learn, and you were asking all the questions. And I remember just thinking when I saw you and was, kept getting on you every second week. I think we were on Zooms. I just remember thinking, wow, she's a real go-getter. I got a feeling that she's going to go somewhere. So I wanted you to think back to Interiors Insider. What made you join Interiors Insider? Was I asking you to, or how did you find it?
Yeah, you were stalking me.
Oh, was I? As I do.
But I think I really wanted to surround myself with the right people.
Yeah.
And I work by myself, and I've always been a big believer that don't try and do what's not your thing. So
Yeah.
I outsourced my website. I got help from a social media person. And I think I thought, well, here's someone who's been in the industry for a really long time, offering me support and wants to help me sort of put in place processes and procedures and all that sort of thing. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I, join?
Yeah.
And I just really loved your approach as well. You're my people.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember like that group was really, each cohort has its own little special place because, I get to know them really well. You get to know all of your other members in your little group well, but you've transitioned out of the mentee program really well into the membership as well. And you're the biggest advocate that I could ever ask for in this industry. So a big thank you to you. You're always speaking so highly. I believe a lot of your success comes from you being so open and willing to compliment and tell people how amazing they are from a genuine stance. And it's almost like that you attract that back to you. I think that's a beautiful quality of yours, and maybe something that we can all learn from is that, two flowers together can bloom and not be taken, either one of them's not better or worse, but, everyone can bloom in their own way. And I don't ever feel like you find it competitive or, is there a jealous bone in your body? Maybe. No, I don't think so. Like, I don't feel it's that there.
No, I think I've always been a very generous person.
Yeah.
And
so beautiful.
and kind and supportive.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there's times where I thought I've been too much like that and I need to be a bit sort of harder. But I think I'm realizing that people are drawn to me for who I am.
Yeah,
and
your own personality.
Yeah, and there's enough business out there for everyone. Yeah.
So in terms of growing Proud Mary, how did it start? How did you start getting clients? What's been the ups and downs, in the first couple of years? What's been some highlights, some lowlights? Tell us,
Yeah, sure. So it's been referrals, and repeat business.
Yep.
And, I think one of the big things for me is I work really closely with all my suppliers and form really great relationships from them. And I've actually got work from suppliers, or at least amazing. Referrals, which is really nice. I think one of the biggest hurdles is understanding what's in my pipeline. And I'll be honest, I think last January, I was freaking out a bit because I was on holidays and I couldn't see what was going to come in. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I actually borrowed a little bit of money off my sister. Yeah. Just to get me through.
Well, this is what happens when we're in this job for ourselves. We've got to ride the ups and downs. So I'm really glad you said that because, it's not all roses, is it?
No,
there's some hard parts.
Yeah. And I think also I was still learning about cash flow.
Yeah.
and how to manage it.
Yeah.
And that just got me over a really tricky spot. But then all of a sudden, it was almost like instant. As soon as I went back to work in Feb, I started getting work again. But I also reached out to my accountant, who is the most amazing man.
Yeah.
And he helped me with a cash flow spreadsheet. And, I think, and then all of a sudden I started getting work through Instagram. And I was saying to my friend Fiona, who helps me with my social media, only from an advice point of view, I do it all myself. And I said,
Yeah.
I'm not getting any work through it. And she's like, it takes time. And I think it took me a good 18 months to start getting clients through it, but now I do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been really consistent since then. But it's also at that same time, I took a casual job with a furniture retailer too, so I was really determined to do whatever it was going to take. And I wasn't precious about it. It's like, I'll just do it.
Yeah. And I think, if you look at that now back, taking that job with the furniture retailer has probably been one of the best things you've done. It's probably opened up more doors and more opportunities.
It absolutely has.
More
Most
connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun. It's not massive hours, but it just gives me that little bit extra.
Yeah. And connections and maybe just a different scenery. I feel like it can complement this work that we do to get somewhere in the industry. Like I'm always saying to some of the girls in the mentee group, if you can get a job in a tile gallery or, a carpet, somewhere where you're doing and you're going to learn about product, meet people that are buying it, you can ask questions. Like this is amazing information for you to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what about, you said that you're starting to get clients out of social media and it took a good 18 months, which I agree. I reckon 12 to 18 months of consistently posting every day. What kind of post do you reckon bring in clients? Is there a type of post or do you just think it's just that whole bundled all together, that whole 12-month process of posting every day or every second day?
I've reflected on this a lot and I'm really pedantic about my feed.
Yeah.
And I think people are drawn to you who like your aesthetic.
Yeah.
But they also like authenticity.
Yeah.
And I try and do a balance of my own work, inspiration, education. What else am I doing? A few reels, some stories. And I've done that consistently for 2 years now. And I got my biggest client through Instagram.
Yeah. I totally think that all designers and stylists and decorators can get their work out of Instagram. I know it's drove 90% of mine. I mean, initially it came out of referrals.
Yeah.
But sometimes they can dry up. So you've just got to have this backup plan where you're doing it on Instagram. And I think it's amazing that the power of this, like we don't pay for this tool. And so many people are complaining about it and the algorithm and whatever. We're not having to pay for a local ad like I used to when I was first in business, or do letterbox drops, which I still think can be quite amazing for your business. But yeah, it's just we're so lucky to have this, to do it, and our business just relates to it so perfectly. I think it's amazing.
I think the thing that, if I was going to give anyone starting out some advice, is really nail your niche and your client though.
Yeah.
Because you need to stand out. And to be honest, when I first started my Instagram, I was worried I was going to be polarizing because I'm so full of color but you know what? I stand out.
Yeah.
And so you've really got to you've also got to plan. You've got to schedule your posts. You've got to think about, your keywords, your hashtags. I actually, on Canva, have a template that I drop all my images in. because I lost my way a little bit a few months ago. So to get me back on track, I dropped images in to see how it was going to look on my feed. And now I
Yes.
use Later for that. So I put in drafts so I can see how everything's going to look.
Yeah, and whether they position like the last 12 images on that
Yeah.
board look amazing, because
Yeah.
although we know people aren't liking or commenting, they're still looking. They're watching, they're looking, and they want to see you. Was it hard for you to turn up on social media personally, get into stories and show up and talk?
Oh, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, and I think as I've grown as a person and grown in confidence, which I know I have, it's much easier for me. I mean, look at me here. I would never have done this 2 years ago. And
Yeah.
here I am. Hell yeah. Put me
Yeah.
on.
I think I did. I remember doing a 5-day Instagram challenge, and I remember you loving it and turning up, and you turn up with the cat each day or most days. And you were just like, you're just willing to embrace all of those challenges. You were like, yep, let's do it. I'm really uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it. And I have to say, I was the same. I left a job because I didn't want to public speak. It just
Mm,
got to me so much. And now I'm just like, I'm not fully comfortable with it. I mean, I'm fine on Instagram and that, but if a group of people,
yeah.
I'm totally not comfortable. But I know that if I get over that first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm okay. And even if I'm not, it's still going to be okay. I'm going to get through it. And I think you have to forego thinking about yourself and do it for your brand and your business if you're
Yeah.
serious about it. You
I
just have to
totally
do it.
agree. And
And you
I
can't
try and
grow.
say, I try and say yes to everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And you go to a lot of supplier events. Like you mentioned earlier, building relationships. And I think that is definitely one of your strengths. You can build relationships. And I'd just like to touch on that a little bit. Um, is that like when you first meet a client, or you're ringing them for the first time, or speaking to them somehow for the first time, what are you trying to do in those first couple of minutes of that meeting? Have you got a little plan? Are you trying to make them feel, what are you making them feel?
I want them to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I try and make it so that it's a conversation about what they need,
Yeah.
how I can help them achieve, deal with their pain points, because
Yeah.
there's always something that that's blocking them from moving forward. And I'm certainly, I don't think I have an ego. And I think
No.
that's probably a good thing for me, because people do warm to me.
Yeah. I think they do too. And that's beautiful. And I think that's something I think we can all work on to do more of, is that just stopping maybe a little bit more, listening, in like really listening, like when the other person's speaking, not just nodding, but actually listening and repeating back some of their words to make them feel comfortable. I know for me, when I go into clients' homes, the first thing I want to do is to get that barrier down. I want them to just go, oh, hi. Oh, I try and find something familiar. It's almost, I call it the leveler. So we're
Yeah.
just trying to get on their level very quickly so that we can establish that trust quickly. And then the rest really, once you establish that trust, I mean, the rest of it's really easy, I think. Do you ever get into those, though? Just reminded me, do you ever get into those and you find it, you just can feel the discord? You're not actually, very rarely would I feel it, but I have felt it where I just can't get that relationship with that person.
Um, Not yet,
Not
but
yet.
I'm sure
Okay.
there'll be a first. There'll be
Yeah.
something that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of your business moving, where you've been, where you've started, tell us some wins that have happened along the way. I might interject and just ask how that happened or whatever, but what's been some of the biggest wins, and maybe or you might have already touched on that, the low points of running your business?
Um, Definitely. I'm doing a full renovation in Williamstown at the moment. That's definitely a big win, and that was a referral from a friend.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and that's going really well. And then my photo shoot with an Australasian interiors company. I can't really say who it is at the moment, but that came through Instagram. And yeah, that was just incredible.
Yeah.
To be
So
given
when
that
it came
opportunity.
through Instagram, tell the other members how, what they just watching you. They sent
This
you a
woman
DM.
reached out to me, and she'd done sort of a search on Instagram for stylists, and I found out recently that the reason she connected with me was my feed. She's a graphic designer, and she just loved what I'd done. So we had a bit of a chat. I had to quote, and that was challenging because I haven't done a photo shoot for 100 years, and not with furniture. So you and I worked a lot on that, and I had a meeting with her and another senior person in the business, and they decided they wanted to work with me.
Yeah.
And I know that they're absolutely ecstatic with my work because they told me,
Yeah.
which is incredible.
And I'm wondering, really, once I got to know you, like maybe price became irrelevant and they fell in love with your personality and who you were and maybe what you could produce. So, I mean, that's something amazing that you can, move forward with. But yeah, that's an amazing win. And unbelievable that it came out of Instagram. For all those people listening that think nothing comes from Instagram, 2 years in, and yes, it can come from Instagram. Yeah. And LinkedIn, do you use LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, Facebook, got them both, but I hardly put any time into it.
Yeah, me neither. It's hard.
I think Instagram's my
vehicle.
Yeah. And my website. I'm getting a lot more traction with my website too.
Okay, amazing.
And I think the best thing I did with that was have someone professional create my website.
Yeah. Yeah. It when you first started, did you do that? Did you invest in your website, did you say? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you reckon your startup costs were at the start, like to get the website, branding?
The website, I think, was about $2,000.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to have clients create my logo for me and my branding back in 2018, which really set me on the path of having my own business. So I've been very fortunate in that respect. And I'm always reinvesting back into my business. Like I'm doing updates at the moment, isn't it? My website. Yeah.
Yeah. And why do you do that? Why are you reinvesting back into it? You told me before we went on air why you're doing it. I'm wondering whether you realize why you're doing it.
I feel that as I grow and my business grows, I want that to reflect with my branding. Yes, and all the touch points in my
level
business.
up, isn't it? Yeah. Every time you're leveling up, your photo shoots level you up, then you've got to take it to the next level too. Then the next level, and it's constantly evolving. And do you just on that, do you see designers that sit there forever? Like I've seen designers that are there for like 10, 20 years, haven't updated their client avatar, haven't updated the way that they communicate with clients, haven't updated their photo shoots. And I'm just like, and then they come to me and they go, but I can't get any clients.
Yeah.
And I just look at a couple of their touch points and I go, any wonder you're not getting any clients? Like it's, I think it's key, isn't it? Reinvestment is the key to keep growing.
And it's hard because, I mean, I'm by myself as well. So the buck stops with me, but I'm trying to be sensible about what I invest in the business. And I think it's the client touch points that are most important to me, and making it easy for clients to contact me.
Yeah. And when you say easy for clients to contact you, how can they contact you? How do most of them contact you?
That's a good question. Well, if it's referrals, which a lot of it is, it's just an email or a phone call. I'm getting design consult or discovery calls booked through my website.
Oh,
which is
yes,
great.
on link. Yeah.
Yeah, and occasionally I'll get someone DM me through Instagram.
Okay, amazing. Yeah. And
Mm.
in terms of other highs, what's some of the things like your pricing? Have you revisited your pricing since you started?
Yeah,
And where did you start at a 90-minute consult? Like where was 2 hours?
90-minute consult was 250,
Yeah,
and now it's 450 for 2 hours.
amazing.
And
And
my hourly rate, I think's gone from $90
dollars.
to 175.
Amazing.
But I
Yeah.
always do a fixed fee generally. I think,
Okay, so you're doing fixed fees with,
yeah,
yeah. And then I think clients like fixed fees. When you're experienced, they like it because you know predominantly how long something's going to take you, and they know how much they're going to pay for it.
exactly.
How
And
do
I've
you
just
share
started
your,
adding,
sorry,
sorry,
go, you go, go.
I've just started adding in travel time as well, which is something I hadn't done before.
Yeah, amazing. And do you charge that at what? The hourly
Uh,
rate, half the hourly rate?
it's an hourly, well, it's half of my hourly rate, and it's
Yeah.
pro rata, and I'll invoice that fortnightly.
Okay, amazing. And have you had any push and shove about your pricing as you've moved it up? Has anyone queried your pricing or anything like that?
No one's queried it. A couple of people have been really keen to move forward, but then haven't.
Yes.
But, you know, I know that I offer great value,
Yeah.
and I change people's lives. And I know
Yeah.
that sounds a bit sort of, I don't know.
Cliche, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But I know from all the feedback I get. So,
Yeah.
to me, yeah, it's value for money. And my clients will be willing to pay me
Yeah.
what
I don't
what
ever
I
feel like
charge.
there's any pushback on the consult, like whether you're charging $295, $495, whatever. I think, yeah, we get too hung up on that price. I think some designers do and think, oh, my client won't pay that. But I suppose you also got to think about who your client is. Like
Yeah,
if your client won't pay that, then they're not likely to pay for furniture or
exactly.
have a full house fitted out, and maybe they'll just buy a table or something once they save up for it, and you're never going to make money like that. How do you make your money? What's the best part of the job to make money? Like, is it the full house furniture? Is it doing the renovation? Like, what's part's the money maker?
I think it's the fixed fee,
Yeah.
but then the cream on top is with the furniture that I might source from my wholesale suppliers.
Yeah.
I think this is something that I'm going to revisit next year. I think I sort of want to look at the way I charge and what I'm offering.
Yeah.
Whether,
Yeah.
I don't always pass on the entire discount. I
No.
might have a certain percentage, but then I'm transparent and I say that, I keep a portion of it because I manage the administration of my accounts
Oh,
that I have
yeah.
with suppliers.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the other designer that I interviewed earlier today that I was talking to you about, she goes into how she manages furniture, buying that for clients and procuring it. And yeah, it's an interesting interview and listen on that one. Yeah, I was going to say that I think next year, early on in the year, we'll run a masterclass, I think, in the group for procuring furniture for profit.
Yeah.
And I might get some people on the panel for this one where we'll talk about some people in our members group who are doing it, how they're doing it, and just so people can work out, okay, well, what is the best way for me to tackle that?
Yeah.
And make the most amount of money. Because I think you're right. There's no one way of doing it that's right. And there's lots of different ways of doing it, but it'll be interesting. Do you ever have anyone asking you for trade pricing or what the trade price is? Do you ever anyone questioning you on furniture costs?
No. I did work with a lovely young couple. I've almost finished with them on styling. So I sourced a lot of furniture for them. And, I think they were happy to get the trade pricing, but
Yeah.
they never questioned how much that was going to be or if I was keeping any of it. I've never had any issues with that.
No, I haven't either. So I know a lot of people say, what if they ask you? I've never had anyone ask me in my 13 years of doing it, what the cost is, what the trade price. It's like us going into Bunnings and asking them what the cost of the hammer is. You don't ask that. It's just something. Yeah. You just buy it. That's it. If you want that, you want it, you buy it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So you don't have anything covered in terms of your trading terms about your trade pricing?
Yeah, I do. I do say that up to a certain amount, like up to 15%, I pass that on entirely.
Yeah.
And then anything that is sourced through my wholesale accounts, I split the discount.
Yeah, you share. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I'm honest about that.
Yeah, it's transparent.
Yeah. And, I think they realize as they get into the journey as well that, I go over and above to service my clients. I'm probably not making as much money as I think, but I think at the start, that's just worked for me.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're surviving on your own, you're, obviously got a house and utilities that you pay and all of that and, a lifestyle that you want to live. Like, it is possible to do this and make a living out of this. We don't need to not make money in our industry, do we? It's actually possible to make money.
And I'm reinvesting in the business. I'm still buying my shoes and clothes, which we know that I love.
Love, yes. And your cocktails.
Yeah, my eating out. So it's a great lifestyle. I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Yes. And I was showing you a before and after photo that I might share in the group. I'm not sure if I'll put it onto Instagram for you, but I'll see how you feel about that. But yeah, for me personally, I've seen you grow so much. You're just so happy. You were always happy, but you've just blossomed. And if you could pass on something to someone in the group, how's that happen? What have you done? What's important to you? Any words of encouragement or advice that you'd give them?
I think one of the key things for me, which won't be for everyone, was getting on top of my health and fitness.
Yeah.
And I think that's made a huge difference. And I actually had some hypnotherapy.
Oh, did you? I love a bit of hypnotherapy.
Yeah. So it was all around my relationship with food, and I've been a yo-yo dieter and that sort of thing. I'm going to the gym regularly. So I think that helped with my confidence. But I think the other thing is don't be scared. Like, I never thought I was a good networker, but now I'm part of a networking group. I put myself out of my comfort zone. I go to things by myself. I'm brave. I'm really brave. And I'm just loving my work and loving my life in a way that I haven't in a really long time.
Yeah. And in terms of, you said before, investing in yourself, like, you're one that does invest in yourself, as you said, but also like photo shoots and all of that. What happens when you have a photo shoot? What happens to your business?
I think it allows me to show my prospective clients how much I'm growing as a person and how my business is growing as well. It gives me a chance to really create it's to do with your branding. I'm an extension of my brand. And if my clients can see me, or prospective clients see me looking happy and confident and, wearing colour, then I think that will translate into more work, and it allows me to sort of portray that on my Instagram and website as well.
Yeah. And it's another way of standing out. Like, if you're using photos that are 5 years old, or, God forbid, 10 years old of you that don't even look like you anymore, then how on earth is your client going to relate to you? They can't. So for me, seeing new photos is also very much a personal development thing. I see the lift. It's definitely a new level that you take in your business. And I've seen that with you as well. Each shot, each round of shoot had like once a year, I'd say you're getting your photos done, which I
Yeah.
recommend is what we need to do once a year. $500 once a year. It's not a lot of money, is it? Compared to
It's
what
not.
we do.
And I think I'll probably get more done early next year as well, because you use them so frequently.
Yeah.
And if I'm getting bored with them, surely my clients are as well, or my followers. So,
Yeah.
and I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great day. I love that day. It's such full of high vibes and, you know, it's really, you know, big, I don't know, it's just a really feel good day, isn't it?
Yeah.
And everyone's so encouraging and making everyone try and feel really good. Yeah, I think at least once a year, investing in your photos is a must to get to your next level and to keep growing and to stand out online. And it's the evolution of you and your brand, and it doesn't stop. You know, it becomes, I guess, you become more relatable to your audience.
I agree.
Any last minute or last things, words of wisdom for the group that you think, you know, I would like to ask you this before you share something. You know, investing in groups and staying in Interiors Insider, what has that done for your business? Why do you do that and other groups?
It allows me to stay connected to the people I have things in common with, so design. But whenever I'm around the group, it really energizes me and lifts me up.
Me too.
And, you know, we're also supportive of each other, and I work by myself. So it's just nice to have that support. And also, you know, if I need some assistance with something or need some advice, people are there.
Yeah.
And it's worth staying in the group for that. And yeah, it's just amazing. I love it. I don't think I'd be here without it. I mean, you know, I might still be here, but it would have been a more difficult period.
Yeah, I think, and you've met your design BFF as well.
Julie.
Yeah, I could see that straight off. I buddied you two up. I knew that you'd be a hit to one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like having that superpower that I buddy certain people up. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, you've been a very valuable member, and you still are, of Interiors Insider. I can't thank you enough. As I said earlier, you're always speaking so highly of the program and the group, and that comes back to me always. You know, Mary said this, Mary said that, and I'm just like, oh my God, you're so lovely to the group, to me. So thank you so very much. But what's your last piece of word of wisdom for anyone in the members? Have you got something?
I think it's just keep moving forward. Be brave, try new things, you know, understand who your client is, who your niche is, and just go for it.
Yeah. Who's your client? Who's your niche?
A business owner, works in the corporate world, earns good money, time poor, might have a family, wants a beautiful looking home but doesn't know how to get there. Yeah.
They got the money, but they want someone, they're time poor.
Yeah.
And they like to entertain probably too.
Entertain, they travel.
Yeah.
And
worldly.
they love investing in their family and their homes.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Mary. It's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks,
You're
everyone.
so welcome.